Welcome back, everybody. This is your boy Backpack Mo, and I am here in Nova, Northern Virginia, for those of you guys who don't know. And I am here to try some of the famous Vietnamese soup called pho. This is a huge diaspora inside of Northern Virginia. Right now, I'm in Eden Center. Why is pho so important to me? I've been to Vietnam itself, so I've had the authentic pho style on the streets, and you can pretty much find it everywhere all over Vietnam, and you can pretty much find it almost everywhere here inside of this whole area that I'm at. I mean, if you look around me, just look around me, this entire community is a small little Vietnam itself. Not only can you find like grocery stores, you can find clothing, just small little Vietnamese style stores, and especially the pho, which we came here to try today. So right now I'm gonna try at least 2 spots that are in the area because they are close vicinity to each other, and then we're gonna hop off to another part of Nova and try some of the other spots over there. All right, guys, this is the first place, the rice paper. We're about to dive in. The most important part of the soup is the broth. So I'm gonna taste that first and then we'll see. All right, you have a combination of flank round-eye meat, steak finished off with the meatballs in this beef broth. Now this takes hours to make the soup, so it's not just, you can just throw everything all into one bowl and come out quickly. So they start pretty early when they're making these types of soups. Very good. Let's try one of the meatballs first. Not spicy at all. Has a nice, good flavor to it because it's been soaking in this broth and soup. And now it's time to try the actual flank well-done steak. All right, so to wrap it up for the first place, I would say I love the soup. Good portion. It only comes in one size, so you can't get a small, medium, large. It only comes in one, but the one size does come in. I would say it's about an average medium, you would find, that, compared to different other spots. The broth is probably what makes it not too salty. A little bit on the semi-sweet side, but not overly sweet. And they don't skimp you on the meat. It's a really, really, I mean, there's chunks of meat everywhere, not just the meatballs, the flank steak, balance of noodles and everything, and then of course the fresh veggies. So it doesn't seem like it's just been sitting there for a while. It did take a little bit long to come out, but I mean, so I would say it's, as far as one of the first places and one of the soups that I've tried, I enjoyed very much so. All right, guys, we are at the next place called Trang. Right off the bat, I ordered the beef soup. Now, this is a thinly sliced beef, as you guys can see from the other place. There's no meatballs inside of it, and I can already tell the smell, the aroma. I wouldn't say better than the other place. It comes off just a little bit more cleaner in a sense. So first bite, and let's tell you guys how it is. All right, as I said, it's a thinner sliced beef. The smell is really, really good. The aroma, I could already smell it as she was bringing it to the table. You get a little bit more than the previous one. Nice veggies inside of there. We have some cilantro. The onions are a little bit larger. That's what goes in there. And the broth. Let's try that out. Very high. And you have a little bit more like garlicky, green onion type of finish to the broth. Not as fatty as some people like that, the fattier beef that goes inside of it. But I said this is probably just a very, very clean soup, and the cilantro is what really makes it too, because there's a heavy about it. I love cilantro. So that has that broth has that cilantro type of limey taste to it at the end. All right, guys, we are at Pho 75. This is one of the most popular places. I was recommended to come here by one of my coworkers. She's Vietnamese, so she vouched for it. So she's saying this is the spot where she goes to. So let's prove in. Let's dive in, baby. First, the broth, everyone, as always. You can already tell by the color of it, it's much lighter than the other places itself. It's not as oily. But yeah, let's go. Yeah, not as salty as the other ones. You're more of a lighter broth. You can just see this by the color, and not as salty. So I'm assuming the flavor is probably going to just be within the meat. There's a lot of onions on top of it, and then you get larger chunks of the beef flank, as you see right here. So not again as a fatty one, but these are probably some of the biggest. And then the rice noodles are much thinner than the other previous places. All right, boom, let's try. All right, guys, so I guess my take on this is that it's very clean, right? You don't have that over saltiness to it, and then the meat is very, very lean. So if you're looking for less sodium and just a little bit more cleaner cut of the meat, this probably would be the place for you. I do like that little fattiness to it because it adds the flavor to the overall soup. Overall estimation of this is more clean and thinner noodles. So I don't think you get as full as you would do it for the previous places. But more of a clean, like I just said, clean it would be the word for me to describe this place. All right, guys, we're in the fourth and final spot, Pho Sate. This was recommended to me by one of my really good friends, and he said the special thing about this place is their homemade sauce, secret sauce right here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and try the soup on its own, just so I can see what it kind of tastes like, and then I'm gonna add the special secret sauce, whatever it may be. I don't know the recipe to it, but this is what separates this place from some of the other places that I went to. So let's go ahead and dive in. And right off the bat, look, you can already see the broth darker or murkier than the previous places. This is probably the darkest that I've seen the broth in there before. So maybe that means that the actual bones or the meat is probably in there longer than the other places. So let's go ahead and dive in. And boom, you can't even, it's not even transparent. You can't even see all the stuff that's below. This is more like a traditional, I guess, beef broth soup that you'll find in, other type of soups. But let's try it. Not as, I'm still trying to kind of figure out what it is. It tastes like a beef broth that you would find in like a beef vegetable soup, I would say. But not bad. This would be your standard if you guys aren't used to having trying pho itself. This would be the closest to a beef vegetable type of broth soup that I would say. All right, now we got some of the beef and the onions, the veggies on there. All right, so the beef here, I get more like a roast beef type of finish to it. As opposed to, like I said, the previous other places. So more on the hearty side for it, but also lean at the same time. So that's my, I guess, overall estimation of the cut of the meat. And then, like I said, we're dealing with a different type of broth here too. So it seems like the marination process is probably longer than the traditional places that you'll find. So now let's go ahead and see if that extra sauce adds that extra pizzazz to it. Let's just go ahead and add it all. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now let's see if we can mix it in, mix with the soup, the noodles, and everything. And you can see some of it still floats to the top, so I guess whatever peppers or oil or onions is in there. Now let's see if they can taste the difference, because get a little bit of everything, and here we go. Well, that's good. Yeah, I like it. I think for me, yeah, you need that sauce on in there, because like initially when I tried it, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of bland. Like, not to say that it was bad or anything. It just reminded me more. It was just different from the other pho's that I've had before, and it just tasted like a beef stew to me. But once you add this sauce to it, it totally changes it. It's a completely different dish, and I think it's necessary to have it. Like, I honestly probably would not liked it if I didn't have this sauce that goes with it. And now, yeah, I can see what my friend was saying. Like, you kind of have to have it. So maybe it's zero. I don't know what it is, but it's good. So let's try to enjoy the rest of it, and I'll let you guys know how everything is at the end. All right, guys, I went to all the pho places. My belly is full of soup. It's time to give you guys my honest reviews of everything and come up with a winner towards the end. So the first two spots that we went to were both in Eden Center. Very great area. As you can see, that whole area was pretty much a little Vietnam, if you only want to say it itself. All right, so the first spot that I tried was rice paper. Now, this was a little bit more of a modern take on your Vietnamese style pho soup. One of the things was a little off-putting was that the fact that, most places when you go in, they give you the water for free. Not that I mind paying for, bottled water, but this was the only option. If you wanted water, you had to get a bottle of water from there. The service was great, you know what I mean? They even boxed up the food towards the end. They were really nice. Like I said, very modern. They were checking on me, making sure everything was cool. Instead of just, take your order, write your order down, and you pay and you go. The soup itself, it wasn't bad, right? And I'm not saying don't go there, but it wasn't one of my favorites. The second spot that was also within the same area was called Nhan Tran. Sorry if I'm getting that pronunciation wrong, but this felt more of a traditional style pho restaurant. I mean, not only everything, pretty much almost everything was in Vietnamese that was there. The whole area that I was around, just if I didn't tell you guys that I was not in Vietnam, I could have just said that I was in Vietnam and you probably would have believed me. It felt more traditional, felt like, again, like I was back in Vietnam, and probably one of my favorite places. Very, very hearty. The meat was cut, has a little bit of fattiness to it, but also a little bit of leanness to it. So overall, like I said, I really, really love this place. All right, so the next place that we went to was Pho 75. This was one of the ones that's been really growing on social media. I was recommended to go by, like I said, one of my coworkers. The only difference here was that everything was like super lean. You know what I mean? The meat was lean. The broth wasn't as salty. More in the watery side, you got a lot more vegetables inside of it, so it was a lighter type of broth overall to it. But I can see why it's popular, you know what I mean? If you just don't want that, that heavy broth soup and you want a little bit more of a cleaner type of thing, I will say it probably had some of the better noodles out of all the locations that I went to. The cut of noodles weren't so heavy. Sometimes when you eat some of these soups, it's so much noodles that you try to go in. It looks like they were cut in a right proportion, so it didn't take like you were dragging a whole bunch of things just to eat one serving of noodles. So I do love the cut from it. It was cash only, so some of these places traditionally do keep that, I understand, but thing to note is that it's cash only. So if you didn't have cash on you, make sure you hit up the ATM or place right next to you. All right, and the last and final place, Pho Sate, which was recommended to me, one of my closest friends. He said you have to go there and make sure you have the sauce that tries in it with the soup. The sauce definitely made it, because originally, like I said, when I tried the soup without the sauce, it felt like I was eating some just regular heartier vegetable soup, which I like, right? But we're trying pho here, right? So we want to know exactly what it's about. Now, if I didn't have that sauce, I'm sorry. I honestly probably would not order it again. Now, adding the sauce to it, it wasn't spicy, right? It's their homemade sauce. I don't know what the secret ingredients is. If somebody knows, put those in the comments at the very bottom. But adding that sauce not only was great with the soup, if you wanted to add it like with their spring rolls or anything else, it was versatile to add with everything. I tried so many places. Now 4 was a lot. It's challenging even to eat all that soup in one day and then trying to come up with an estimate. And there's thousands of different options. I mean, look around. This whole area, this whole DMV, this whole diaspora is represented by Vietnamese owned restaurants, and the culture and the soups That's why some of these places have numbers, because it's number 75, it's number 74, it's number 73, it's number 72. Like you can't even eat all of these even in a month span. There's so many different options, and there's more that are opening up by the week. To try all of these, probably it would take almost literally a lifetime. I mean, just in the surrounding area, there was 5 or 6 around just where I live. So, I mean, the options are endless. So at the end of the day, there has to be one winner. And the winner, in my opinion, and now, like I said, this was a little hard because there's so many places, so many options, but I have to pick a winner. It may not be your winner, but this is my own personal thing, how I felt. And the winner is going to be Trang. You guys are the winner of the Pho challenge or the Pho tasting. Like I said, so many different options. Don't come at me in the comments if I didn't hit the one that you guys wanted to hit, but this was my own personal thing, how I think. The reason why I chose them, the combination of the broth, the meat, the fattiness, the cut of the noodles, the whole motif, the traditional, made me feel like I was back in Vietnam. This is why I'm choosing them as the winner. So after that would probably be rice paper. I love the modern chic-ness to it. The service was great, so it did add it. And they were able to even pack up the soup to go. Trying to put that stuff to go, it can be messy. Soup can go everywhere. Service was great. You're able to use cash and credit card there too. So for those of you guys who only carry card on you or just want to be able to use your card, I like the modernness of it. They did have a selection of beverages, drinks that you could try, so they would probably follow after that. Next would be Pho 75. Pho 75, the leanness of the meat, it was very clean. The soup, like I said, it wasn't my number one thing. I mean, my favorite thing about eating these is the broth itself, among other things. So they would follow number 3. And then last but not least would be Pho Sate. If I didn't have that sauce to add to it, I would probably have to just nix it from the thing. But I feel like this is pho here, so you shouldn't have to add anything extra to it, although that sauce did make for it. But yeah, they would be last but not least. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you like, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up. It'll help, and comment in any places that you want me to go around the surrounding area. Any pho places that I missed. I try to go to the top ones that I've recommended from my friends, or the ones that you guys might have told me in the comments. But for those of you who are watching me the first time or who haven't seen me, make sure you put it around so other people that are coming to the DMV can check out some of these places too. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.